In late 16th century Venice, where luxury and poverty go hand in hand and social order is strict and unwavering, the story of a young girl named Veronica Franco unfolds. Her beauty, intelligence, grace and sharp tongue could provide her with a brilliant future, if not for one thing: her family is on the brink of poverty. The only support for Veronica is her mother Paula, who, despite the hard times, tries to teach her daughter to survive in this difficult world. Her father died long ago, and her younger brothers need care and help. However, fate gives Veronica hope to a young man named Marco Venier, whom she has known since childhood. Marco has recently returned to Venice after studying in Rome. He is handsome, noble and belongs to an influential aristocratic family. Their first meeting after a long separation takes place at a feast. Veronica's eyes light up when she sees Marco and he responds in kind. They dance together to the sound of the lute, and this moment becomes the beginning of their love. Their laughter, ease of conversation, and sincere looks at each other say more than any words can say. However, Veronica's joy is overshadowed by the realization that their feelings will not lead to marriage. Marco's family has already chosen for him a bride, a girl with a huge dowry, which will be a profitable union for both families. Despite this, Veronica and Marco continue to meet in secret. Their conversations are filled with tenderness and longing. "If only the world were different, if only I could take you away and go away," he whispers to her one night. She answers him bitterly, "I can't be your shadow, Marco. I want to be the light in your life, but I'm not allowed." Paula, watching her daughter's suffering, realizes that her family is on the verge of total collapse. Venice is a city where men hold the power and women must find ways to survive in this harsh world. Paula tells Veronica about her past. She was once one of the most famous courtesans in Venice. Her beauty and intelligence opened the door to the high society. She taught Veronica that being a courtesan was an art that required not only beauty but also knowledge of literature, music, poetry, philosophy, and diplomacy. At first, Veronica rejects the idea. Her pride won't let her accept the idea that she has to sell her feelings and body. But after seeing her mother selling her last valuable possessions and her younger brother starving, she begins to think. When Veronica sees her younger brother trying to steal bread, it becomes a turning point. She realizes that she can no longer afford to dream the impossible. After much deliberation, Veronica accepts her mother's offer and begins her training. Paula teaches her the art of seduction, how to hold her own in society, and how to use her beauty as a weapon. Veronica reads poetry, studies music, and learns manners. Her first outing takes place at a reception at the home of one of the richest noblemen in the city. She appears in a luxurious dress that her mother has sewn from her old fabrics. The men can't take their eyes off her, and the women whisper behind her back. Veronica feels confident, but everything changes when she notices Marco among the guests. His gaze, full of a mixture of admiration and pain, makes her heart clench. She realizes that their paths are now truly separate. In time, Veronica becomes the most famous courtesan in Venice. She is surrounded by poets, philosophers, politicians, and aristocrats. Her house becomes a salon where the most important issues of politics and art are discussed. Veronica uses her position to support her family. She buys a new house, educates her brothers, provides for her mother. But success brings not only admiration, but also envy. Aristocratic wives hate her, seeing her as a threat to their marriages. They whisper about her, spread rumors, accuse her of sinfulness. Marco's wife, who cannot forgive Veronica's influence on her husband, becomes particularly furious. Meanwhile, tensions in Venice are rising. Political intrigue and religious fanaticism begin to take over the city. The Catholic Church increases its influence, and courtesans are targeted. Veronica is summoned for questioning by the Inquisition. She is accused of corrupting men, destroying families, and even using magic. The trial becomes a real test for her. In attendance are her enemies, former patrons, friends, and family. Paula sits in a corner praying for her daughter. Veronica, dressed in a simple dress, stands before the judges. She speaks of her life, explains that her choice was forced, that in a society where women have no rights, she found her way to freedom and independence. As Veronica's fate hangs in the balance, Marco stands up and speaks in her defense. His speech is touching and sincere. He confesses that he has always loved Veronica and admired her strength. You blame her for what she did to survive. What did you do? He challenges the audience. His words cause a commotion. Some of the men lower their eyes, realizing he is right. The judges, bowing to public pressure, acquit. Veronica leaves the court victorious, but she knows that this is not the end of her ordeal. The final scene shows Veronica on the balcony of her house. She looks out at the sunset, feeling bitter and relieved. Her face expresses a mixture of sadness and pride. Her life has changed forever. She lost Marco, but gained her freedom. Her name became a symbol of strength, wisdom, and independence. Her story lives on in the hearts of women who are searching for their way in a world full of restrictions and injustice.